Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Since Conk was just a young girl, he did not think it was appropriate to maintain a stern expression. Therefore, he mustered up what he thought was an acceptable smile. Conk walked up to Mingxian and said, "Greetings, fourth senior brother. Little junior sister, you must work hard in your cultivation. If you want to slash your lotus, you can look for me," Mingxian said with a smile. Conk immediately turned toward Zhou and said, "Greetings, fifth senior sister." Zhou said, "I've only learned about this today so I didn't have the time to get you a welcome present. I'll get you a present in the future." "Thank you, senior sister." Conk went up to Zhou. "Greetings, eighth senior brother." "You're very polite, little junior sister," Zhou replied. At last, Conk finally stood in front of little Yuan. Before Conk spoke, little Yuan said, "From this day on, you're my little junior sister. I'll protect you." "Thank you, ninth senior sister." "You're very nice," Conk replied. Shortly after, Conk greeted the four elders. Zhou nodded, pleased. After the ceremony, Conk was officially a member of the Evil Sky Pavilion. "Old Fourth, notify Old Seventh about this." "Yes, Master." Fellow disciples should know about each other's existence. Zhou continued, "The second matter I have to announce is that I'll be cultivating in seclusion for 5 months. Throughout these 5 months, no Evil Sky Pavilion disciple is to venture out without due cause." The others looked confused. The pavilion master was already at the 9-leaf stage, why would he need to cultivate in seclusion? Constant improvement? Yes, that must have been why. The pavilion master was constantly trying to improve himself. "Yes, pavilion master." "Yes, master." Everyone bowed. Zhou stroked his beard and nodded. "The disciples will stay back. The others may leave." Apart from Zhou's disciples, the others left the Evil Sky Pavilion's Great Hall. Zhou walked up the steps. He swept his gaze across his disciples and said, "All of you should work hard and cultivate while I'm in seclusion." "Yes, master." Naturally, this simple instruction was not enough. A strict teacher would produce fine students. In that case, he would need to have strict requirements of them. "When I'm out of my seclusion, I'll judge your cultivation basis. If I see that you're slacking off, you'll be severely punished." His disciples shuddered. The fear they once felt while being physically abused seemed to have returned to them. They kept their heads lowered and dared not move. Zhou said, "Conk is new here. All of you should guide her." Thud. Zhou suddenly fell to his knees. His forehead touched the ground as he said, "Don't worry, master, I'll work hard and cultivate. Little junior sister is new to all this. As her senior, I'll surely help her. You can rest assured, master." The other disciples were rendered speechless by this display. Although Old Eighth was shameless, his antics were needed at such crucial moments. Zhou nodded and said, "Very well. Master, why did you suddenly decide to cultivate in seclusion?" Zhou asked. The others looked at Zhou, they were curious as well. Zhou said, "Do I have to explain all my decisions to you from now on?" Zhou immediately kowtowed. "I dare not, master. I was wrong." He raised his hand and decisively slapped himself. The sound of the slap was loud and crisp. The other disciples were still speechless. "Bring me the formation veins copied from the red coffin. At once." Zhou stood up and said, "If there's nothing else, you're dismissed." "Rest well, master." The disciples bowed. Zhou did not return to the Eastern Pavilion this time. Instead, he went to the hidden chamber. When he entered the hidden chamber, he surveyed it. After the refurbishment, the hidden chamber was restored to its original appearance. Compared to before, it seemed sturdier now. Zhou walked up to the rush cushion and sat with his legs crossed. Shortly after, Duanmu Sheng sent the formation veins copied from the coffin over. Then, he left respectfully. Zhou spread the printout and examined it. As I expected, it's exactly the same as the ones on the armor. It was possible for these formation veins to be purely drawn. Copying them by scrubbing in this manner was one of the ways. However, it would be extremely difficult to operate these many formation veins. The precision of control over primal chi required for this would exceed what 8 leaf elites were capable of. Why did this person come here? He remembered the advice on the last pages of the secret tome and sighed softly. Was the 9-leaf stage unattainable? Until now, he was not certain. Whether it was severing the lotus or the problem with the golden lotus he observed from Yun Tianluo's experience, he could not be completely certain that the 9-leaf stage existed. After all, he was not a real 9-leaf cultivator. Zhou shook his head to clear away the distracting thoughts. It was useless to think about these things at the moment. He decided that it was more useful to meditate on the heavenly writing scrolls. Zhou called up the heavenly writing interface. Then, he flipped his palm. Upgrade card. He looked at the system upgrade card and thought, the heavenly writing scrolls won't be closed, right? Use. He gave the order in his mind. The upgrade card dissolved into spots of starlight and scattered on his body. They vanished in just a blink of an eye. At this moment, Zhou noticed that apart from the heavenly writings interface that was still active, the other interfaces were now gray. A progress bar appeared at the side. It read, increasing permission. Finally, it was time to meditate on the heavenly writing scrolls. He was confronted with messy runes. The first impression he had was that he could not understand them. They could not understand each other. Perhaps, it was due to his experience with the human scrolls, he merely took a deep breath before he memorized the runes regardless if he understood them or not. All he had to do was act as though he understood them. A moment later, Zhou entered a state that he could not explain. Just like the first time he meditated on the human scroll, his consciousness entered a void space. There were no sounds or sensations. Everything seemed to have frozen over. Before he knew it, his eyes were shut. Under this mystical state, blue spots of starlight appeared on his body. The general's mansion in Liang province. Wuya brought the sheets of information he gathered from various places and walked into the hall. He seemed to be in a good mood. Zhenghai noticed Wuya's expression and asked, "You look happy, wise brother. Do you bring good news?" "Indeed, I do," Wuya said. "The first good news is that the Taishu Academy's Patriarch, Lin Xian, has been killed by third senior brother with a single strike. It's currently the hottest news in the cultivation world." "Is third junior brother that bold and powerful?" Zhenghai was slightly shocked. Wuya told him about how the crown prince, Lu Ji, had colluded with Lin Xian. Then, he offered his analysis by saying, "Master has broken the barriers of the Taishu Academy and Hanku branch. That's a good thing for the Nether Sect." Zhenghai nodded. "You've got a point. The third good news is we have another little junior sister now," Wuya said. Zhenghai was taken aback. He said skeptically, "Another little junior sister? I didn't believe it at first, but I had no choice but to believe what's written in fourth senior brother's letter." Wuya presented the letter to Zhenghai and continued to say, "We don't know this new little junior sister's real name. She's going by the name Conk for now. She's talented in tune, knows the tongue of the beasts, and most importantly, she directly advanced into the mystic enlightening realm. 5 of her apertures are already connected, and she can easily condense chi into energy. Eldest senior brother, don't give me that look. That's right, she's the young lady on the heaven worship platform." Zhenghai was inwardly shocked by such a talented person. He sat down and read the letter before he said, "Does he have the energy to accept another disciple at his age?" Wuya spread his arms and said, "Master has already attained the 9-leaf stage. Perhaps, his life has been extended." Moreover, Old Fourth mentioned that Master has ordered his disciples to work hard on their cultivation, and they're not allowed to leave the evil sky pavilion without due cause. Zhenghai shuddered as though he had just recalled some unpleasant memories. He likes to act like a teacher as he aged. Just as well. He's a 9-leaf cultivator, after all. Anything he says, goes. Conk. I hope that she's as likable as 9th junior sister. Ding. Disciplined Zhenghai. Reward, 200 merit points. Zhou was in a state of chaos. He did not seem to have heard this notification, and it did not affect his meditation. Wuya shook his head and said, however, I can't help but feel that the little girl is strange. Why do you say that? Not only is she gifted in tunes, but she also directly advanced into the mystic enlightening realm without cultivating. Do you believe it, eldest senior brother? Wuya asked. Indeed, it seems strange. What are your thoughts, wise brother? I remember that when I returned to the Evil Sky Pavilion, I went into Master's room once. There was a poem hanging on the wall. The bright moon shines over the sea, from far away we share this moment together. Wuya beckoned a nearby subordinate over. Bring me the 4 treasures of the study. The items were delivered shortly after. Wuya picked up the brush and wrote the words on the paper. Then, he listed the names of his fellow disciples beside them. Eldest senior brother, take a look at this. Zhenghai looked at the calligraphy paper on the table. Zhenghai, Shangrong, Duanmu Shang, Mingxirin, Zhao Yu, Yi Tianxin, Wuya, Zhu Honggong, Xia Yuan, Conk. Wuya drew circles on their names. When put together, they formed the words for the poem, The bright moon shines over the sea, from far away we share this moment together. I never noticed this. Zhenghai was inwardly shocked by this revelation. That's why I suspected Master wanted to recruit 10 disciples from the very beginning, Wuya said. Wait. Zhenghai raised a hand. If what you say is true, why isn't Conk the shirt in the poem? Wuya said, I've asked Hua Chongyang about this before. This little girl is pure and naive. She doesn't know her own name. Zhenghai's eyes brightened. He nodded and said, could it be that the little girl is Master's daughter born out of wedlock? Perhaps she's hiding her name from us so that we won't find out about Master's promiscuous past? Wuya nearly choked when he heard Zhenghai's speculations. Zhenghai said, don't get so worked up, wise brother. I was only joking. He was fortunate that his master was not around. If he was, Zhenghai would have suffered a good beating. It was not Wuya's style to badmouth his master behind his master's back. I've gone through the ancient texts, and I didn't find the origins of this poem, whether in the history books or collections left behind by literary masters. With Master's skill in poetry, I don't think that he can even come up with a limerick. How could he have penned this magnificent poem? Wuya wondered out loud. Zhenghai placed his hands on his back and said, the world is vast and full of wonders. When Master was at his peak, he traveled the 9 provinces and the 4 seas. It's only natural for him to have encountered unusual happenings or heard some lesser-known folk songs and the likes. Wuya nodded at the moment, this was the only explanation. Wise brother, now that we're in a good position, let's talk about business. Zhenghai was not interested in this poem. He was merely entertaining Wuya. He removed the calligraphy paper from the table and rolled out Yu Province's map. Wuya dismissed his thoughts and focused his attention on the map before he said, half a year. We should pick up the pace, then. I think tonight's our best chance. His statement was shocking. Zhenghai did not expect that. He asked, are we in a hurry? We should strike when our enemy least expects us to. Good. Zhenghai smacked Wuya's shoulder heavily. Your words are just what I like to hear, wise brother. Inside a room in the temporary general's mansion in Yu Province. A valiant-looking woman was tidying her martial attire in front of a mirror. Her hair was tied into a bun. Even her armor and sword could not hide her fair facial features. General Ji, you're certainly a match for men. It's up to you to defend Yu province now, a person next to her said in an attempt to flatter her. This woman was the only female among the 8 great generals, Ji Qingqing. Ji Qingqing said disapprovingly, do you think that Yu province can be defended? The deputy general immediately fell to one knee. General, you're our mainstay. You must remain strong. Nonsense. Ji Qingqing frowned and placed one hand on her sword. 4 of my 8 deputy generals have already been lost before the battle started. The Nether Sect is like the sun at high noon. How am I supposed to keep them at bay? The deputy general stammered, the Taishu Academy's president, Xiao Shan, is bringing 1,000 disciples here as reinforcements. They'll certainly be of some help to you, general. That's enough. Ji Qingqing waved her hand. She did not want to discuss this further. Night fell. On the southern city gate, a huge, dark flying chariot slowly sailed into view. Yet, the Ji province city remained silent. The cultivators at the top of the gates looked up at the night sky. What's that? A flying chariot? The night was too dark. They did not have much visibility. They rubbed their eyes and widened them to look again. Suddenly, a saber shot out from the flying chariot. The saber glowed with faint radiance. Then, there was a bright flash as the energy saber instantly enlarged. It dropped toward them like a large pinwheel. As it descended, scores of densely packed starlight shot out. This was the famed saber technique, Great Dark Heaven Memorial's Dark Heaven Starlight, that Zhenghai, the sect master of the Nether Sect, cultivated. This is bad. The Nether Sect is here. Boom. 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 They did not even have the time to light the fire signals before they activated the ballistae. The Great Dark Heaven Memorial broke through the western city gate in no time at all. Outside the gate, tens of thousands of Nether Sect members swarmed into the city. Their shouts resounded in the skies. On the flying chariot, Zhenghai stood with his hands on his back as he observed the battle below. Wise brother, what do you think? Your saber technique is shocking, eldest senior brother. I'm awestruck. Si Wuya looked at the Great Dark Heaven Memorial, stunned. The Nether Sect cultivators poured into Yu province city swiftly. Whenever they ran into the garrison, they killed. The flying chariot began to slowly advance. It was progressing like a hot knife through butter. High above the southern city gate, a figure crossed his arms in the dark night skies as he looked down. He glanced at the skies to the west and shook his head disapprovingly. What a crude way of swinging his saber. Utterly boring and ostentatious. Its lethality is low. All it has got going for it is its appearance. He continued to watch the battle, he did not join in. This was because the garrison soldiers were too weak. They were boringly weak. He could not bring himself to be bothered with them. A moment later, he saw almost 1,000 individuals flying toward him in groups. Perhaps, he had been hovering in a remote part of the skies, combined with his green robes and the night skies, the people did not seem to notice him. Shh! The leader raised his hand. President, what do we do now? Let's avoid being caught for now. We'll take a detour and leave Yu province. Then, we'll launch a sneak attack on Jing province. The others nodded. I didn't expect Zhenghai to be this powerful. It's a fine idea to avoid him. Some of the Nether Sect's elites were stationed in Liang province to guard against the other tribes. Zhenghai and the others originally guarded Jing province themselves. Now that they were launching this large-scale attack, the province was, naturally, left unguarded. Old villain Ji has destroyed our Taishu Academy. I must have my revenge. At this moment, a voice rang from above the cultivators. My apologies. Who's there? President Xiao Shan shuddered as he looked up. He saw a green-robed swordsman hovering in the night sky. Zing. A faint scarlet sword flew out from behind the green-robed swordsman's back. The sword split into two, then, it multiplied, until the sky was filled with densely packed energy swords. Whiz. An avatar appeared. The avatar that was missing a golden lotus shot toward them with thousands of energy swords in tow. Swoosh. 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 The energy swords easily pierced the chests of the Taishu Academy disciples. They were powerless to fight back. Xiao Shan summoned his avatar and rose higher in the air in an attempt to block the energy swords. As soon as Xiao Shan rose into the sky, a faint smile appeared on Yu Shangrong's face. He adjusted his grip on his longevity sword as he stepped forward. There was a flurry of movements. 5 leaves circled the sword's blade. Before Xiao Shan could react, the leaves were already on the move. They sliced through his protective energy with uncanny sharpness. The longevity sword followed closely behind the leaves, and it pierced Xiao Shan's Dantian sea of qi. Xiao Shan felt a chill spread throughout his body. His heart sank to the depths of his soul as he witnessed his disciples being stabbed by Sword Devil's destiny. He cried out, "I'm taking you with me." As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately detonated his Dantian sea of qi. Boom. Yu Shangrong was set to be caught in the explosion. He felt the incoming wave of energy as he swung his longevity sword. A tidal wave of sword shadows was launched. The scene where he slashed the fiend Zen was reenacted. He focused all his attention and worked with every fiber of his being as he swung his sword. He moved like the wind. The area within 2 meters of him was completely filled with the longevity sword's shadows. On the Nether Sect's flying chariot, Zhenghai looked in the direction of the western city gate. At night, they could not see the details of the techniques or the appearance of the other person. However, it was difficult to miss the huge avatar. A 60-foot avatar with no golden lotus? Zhenghai was inwardly shocked. He was not shocked by the profundity of the person's cultivation base, but at the speed at which the cultivator managed to recultivate to the 5-leaf stage after severing his lotus. It was a truly shocking feat. Eldest senior brother, that must be energy swords. It's most probably from the Sword Path Elite who has been helping us, Wuya said.